All right, welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner. We're going to talk about Livepeer, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, I guess we're just diving into more. We already covered the Grayscale, the six more tokens they're adding to their trust, which included Decentraland.
Yeah, so we talked
So
about this one yesterday,
yeah,
and we talked about Chainlink and Decentraland, but we saw Livepeer on here, and it's not one that we see too often. So we were like, well,
yeah, I've
if
heard it like I don't know in the mists, like
yeah,
here and there.
yeah,
I never really looked into it, but obviously, after like such a huge, I guess, catalyst event like this, Grayscale, pretty much giving you the nod of approval. Now, like
yeah,
now's a better time than ever to really look into this thing, see what it is, right?
yeah. So you know what's interesting? That Decentraland, Livepeer, Filecoin, Link, Tezos, and Basic Attention Token. These are all decentralized to a degree.
Mm.
And so we're starting to see a pattern with Grayscale being interested in like decentralized projects.
Well, yeah, man, it's definitely the future, right? Like if you're gonna really embrace what the actual mission statement of cryptocurrency is, it's definitely decentralization, right? So as
Yeah.
difficult as that is of a proposition that is, obviously it's not easy to, you know, it's not the most efficient model. Like if we were trying to optimize efficiency,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not.
it's not. And we've seen that it's difficult to decentralize things, but I mean, somebody's got to lead the charge.
Yeah. And so let's take a look at the price here. So it's at $3.87 with a market cap of 89 million. And it sort of launched some in the time frame of like January or December 2018.
With
And
like a lot of excitement. It looks like
yeah.
one hell of a pump.
Yeah, and it lasted for quite a while actually.
Yeah, and it looks like it returned back to those highs, and then I guess interest just kind of fell off, right?
Yeah.
Seems to be, I mean, during the time of the market where things really weren't starting to heat up yet, you know?
Yeah. So it was March 2020 where everything dumped. So it took a hit just like everything else, and it's been on its way up since then. So what is Livepeer? So what's one of the things that we discovered with Livepeer is looking into it is it's very similar to a lot of these different decentralized protocols are attacking how you encourage the community to get involved.
Mhm.
And we're starting to see patterns of how decentralized protocols are starting to work in a
Yeah.
decentralized way.
Yeah, they're all using similar like social engineering
Yeah.
tactics.
Incentives, social
Yeah,
incentives to participate.
exactly. Because I mean, they all only have the same tools at their disposal, right? The crypto token, the token itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can program these tokens to do different things, which is what they do. But I mean, all the humans are the same no matter what ecosystem they're participating in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're all motivated by the same psychological forces. So it makes sense that these really truly decentralized protocols are like acting off of the same model,
Yeah.
which is
So
pretty
it
interesting.
it starts off with they claim that 80% of the internet's bandwidth is consumed by video streaming, which I don't know. At first, it's sort of hard to believe, but when you think about it, a lot of the stuff that people learn, how you learn, is via YouTube for the most part,
Yeah,
and it's all video content. So, I mean,
look
this
at us,
is
dude.
yeah. I mean, this is a pretty big deal if that's what happens, with internet bandwidth. And so, part of the work that these huge centralized corporations is they have to take your video files and transcode them to different video formats so that different kinds of devices can see the video. And so what Livepeer tries to do is they try to encourage those with like GPUs and like really solid computers to participate in this network so that they do the transcoding and not the centralized entities. And in return for them doing the transcoding, they get to mine LPT tokens, Livepeer tokens.
Hmm, interesting.
So
So this isn't like Livepeer isn't like coming out here making some type of like political statement by building this platform, right? Like they're not here saying like we need to decentralize media, right? Like they're more like we need to decentralize the data transmission processes that like these media applications, how they function, right?
Yeah.
So that way in the future people can start building these political statement platforms and be like, you know what, fuck YouTube and their censorship. You know what I mean? Like we want to build a decentralized version of that, but they're gonna need this network, right?
Yeah, and one of the things they give you like a good understanding of like the cost of doing the transcoding is that the process costs around $3 per stream per hour to a cloud service like Amazon, and so that's like $4,500 per month on one media server, which is $1,500 per month per bandwidth for a content delivery network. So it just shows that it's pretty expensive to live stream anything.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So now they introduce this Livepeer token to help incentivize different operators of the network to, help, with this cost reduction. Because they're saying that if you participate in this network, you do a 50x reduction on the costs. And so that is recuperated through all the network participants. And so we have the developers who would use the Livepeer protocol to create a project that requires some live streaming aspect to it. You have the users who view the videos, and then you have the broadcasters who actually is part of the network. So such as Twitch, who have large audiences and have high streaming bills or infrastructure costs, can use Livepeer to reduce costs or infrastructure overhead. So that is a target market for Livepeer. Is those institutions like Twitch. So they give us an example.
Hold on, can you revisit that statement? So they are targeting currently existing applications then?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
it's a more efficient model for them. It's just if they're actually going to save money as like a corp, as an entity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So it says it aims to increase the reliability of video streaming while reducing costs associated with it by up to 50x.
Yeah.
So to achieve the Livepeer is building a peer-to-peer infrastructure that interacts through a marketplace secured by the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
So one of the examples they give is that Alice is a developer and her project requires some live streaming capability. And then Bob is a user of that streaming service to record, let's say, it says here a basketball game. And so when Bob opens up the app and taps record at the start of each game, the app sends a live video along with the broadcaster feeds into the Livepeer network. Livepeer then transcodes this video into all the formats and bit rates that his viewers do. So the transcoding is done by participants of the network who have the GPU, right? And it says, the question here is, how can Alice be assured that the live streaming experience is high quality for Bob's viewers? And so then there's a delegator and an orchestrator. And so the two key participants are these two. And one of the orchestrator is anyone that can join the network and become what's known as an orchestrator by running software that allows you to contribute to your computer's resources. So the orchestrator is that network participant who has a CPU and GPU to transcode the files. So, and in return, the user gets to earn fees in the form of Ethereum or DAI. And so then they talk about the Livepeer tokens here and the delegators. So the delegators really help coordinate the network to funnel all of the traffic and all of the work to the right participants of the network. So for example, if you have a bunch of these Livepeer tokens and you want to earn fees using these by staking these tokens, you want to stake them into the right orchestrator who, let's say, ideally has this server farm that's transcoding a bunch of video files, and because if the farm does that, then they're earning a bunch of fees, and then those fees get propagated down to the delegators, and therefore you make passive income.
I'm assuming like this ecosystem isn't to the point similar. Same with the graph. Like it's not to the point where um, these like reputation metrics are like easily obtainable, right? Like you can't really showcase like how well you're doing as an orchestrator
Right.
or as an indexer yet. I don't think, or maybe there is, but I'm assuming like these are applications somehow that still need to be built,
Oh,
by
for
the
sure.
community.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because
So,
there's got to be an easy way. Like if you're a delegator, you have to be able to like navigate through the whole
you know what?
ocean of what are they called again? Orchestrators. Yeah.
Orchestrators. Yeah, no, I mean, if you go back to the graph, which is one of our a video that we did last week,
Mhm.
is you have to do a bunch of research and you have to dive deep into all these charts and
Yeah.
try to figure out who to delegate your tokens to.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy process. And I'm sure it's exactly the same for Livepeer or any other decentralized ecosystem. You have to do a bunch of research to figure out who to stake to. So maybe
Mhm.
that's another service that another project needs to tackle.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, you just have to do your own research and figure out who the best to delegate to.
Interesting. Okay.
And so they do have inflation rounds, which are based on a number of Ethereum blocks. So it's roughly every single day. So every round is roughly a day. So each round, that's when you get distributed those tokens that you earned for participating in the network.
Nice. It's one
Yeah.
hell of you get paid every day, dude.
Yeah, you get paid every day. Yeah.
How many gigs to do that?
Yeah, right.
Very nice.
And then so they do have an inflation rate. So I think the inflation rate is roughly 5,000 tokens per day. And there's 23 million tokens, and 11 or almost 12 million of them are being staked right now. So roughly a 51% participation rate ratio.
Hmm.
And yeah, and I mean, I think that pretty summarizes everything that Livepeer is going through. So it looks like there's 2,605 delegators. So it doesn't sound like a lot of people yet.
That's pretty. It's not bad though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're definitely like in some super early stages of these, participation for these protocols. Most people are still struggling to figure out what the hell they are in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of relates to my point earlier. Like the onboarding of these delegators needs to become a little easier, right? There needs to be like some cleaner interfaces, that these delegators can interact with and make a good decision on like where to allocate their resources, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, those things will come over time. Just like a lot of projects are like in their super early infant stages, so it really I would classify it almost like experimental at this point.
Oh, for
So
sure. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely experimental, but if you're reducing the fees by 50x for
yeah,
broadcasters, I mean like Twitch, I mean even think about it, like Jack from Twitter has already announced, I think about a year ago, that they're trying to build a Twitter infrastructure that's completely decentralized. And so he is trying to outcompete himself
hmm,
because somebody else is going to do it.
yeah,
And I think, someone like YouTube, like Google, they can start leveraging things like Livepeer to reduce their own costs and provide that decentralized infrastructure for their, a segment of their users who want to be uncensorable. But of course, that has all kinds of implications, that we've talked about in the past, where I guess the debate is, should you be able to censor somebody? And I guess you take a strong stance at no, right?
who's you? Like
You,
like
I man.
should I be able to censor
No, I'm
somebody?
saying not you. I'm saying, what's your stance on?
Oh, like yeah, I mean, I definitely would categorize myself in like this like internet anarchist type
Yeah,
crowd. We've had these debates with Decentraland, right? Like, I'd hate to see Decentraland become this like total, like oligarchy controlled, pool of whales who probably have like the most amount of mana
yeah,
in the ecosystem, and they can pick and choose whether or not something, meets their their perception of what's like, tolerable or
Sure.
acceptable from whatever cultural standpoint that they exist in, right? Like they might think something is inappropriate, I might not.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, I prefer it to remain that way, but I understand like whenever things like business interests come into the equation, now you start to have to think about, you know, how to regulate things. But it's just the point. But the problem is, it just always goes too far, dude.
Yeah, it does.
Because you can't draw a line. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certain things that should be censored across the board, but I think the problem is, where do you draw the line? I think that's the real debate.
And that's the thing. It's almost like it is. It's tough to take an all or nothing stance on these things, right? Because they're just extreme versions of each other.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, the I guess responsible or wise thing to do would be to sensibly try to regulate like whatever ecosystem you're talking about, but
or create some kind of protocol where network participants can delegate censorship responsibilities.
Yeah, see, that makes more sense. Yeah, if you can incentivize people to actually like vote sensibly, like I'm talking about, not so much like emotional response.
You know what? This happens already with Facebook. They hire tons of human bodies to go look at content, and those people who they pay they make the decision whether that content should stay up or not. And we're talking about a wide range of content, from like suicides, murders, all kinds of stuff that should be censored, right? And but you could take that idea and decentralize it and have the community take that responsibility and get paid to do it, right?
Exactly.
In a decentralized way.
That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, it's totally possible, and I think that's probably something that Livepeer is constantly thinking about.
And not just that, I guess anybody who's trying to build an ecosystem, like
anybody. That's right.
Said, because as long as you have these tools and these resources, the crypto token, like you have the proper incentives like at your disposal, right?
Yeah.
Now it's all about making it, I guess, sustainable and just not a total shit show, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, we're definitely still experimenting. Like DAO is definitely like, if you don't know what DAO means, like decentralized autonomous organization, that's definitely like the wave of this sector. That's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're definitely going to have to cover that more in depth, like the actual potential ramifications of like an actual real DAO functioning, how we all envision it to function. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And what kind of future implications does that have for like all of society, right?
Yeah.
Can we extrapolate that and like scale it up to like everything is a DAO?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think there's certain protocols that do require a DAO, especially things that require a lot of regulation. And we'll probably be talking about one that I'm thinking about right now pretty soon. But what I was going to say was Livepeer actually reminds me of Library. Remember LBRY? They're basically a peer-to-peer video network, a video content network, where it's like it looks very much like YouTube, but as soon as you click on a video, you're actually downloading the file to your computer. And so in this case, it's a peer-to-peer for Livepeer is a peer-to-peer network of live streaming videos. So I think we're starting to grow as a technology, having all this capability now be completely decentralized. So we're getting there, dude.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It's just we're in such early days. Like the infrastructure's still being figured out,
Yeah.
So, to where we gotta let everything, everything to like set its roots down so that we can start like recognizing the standard protocols, right? And then start building on top of that.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet. You know what I mean? But
Right.
As soon as we get there and like everything's interconnected and it all makes sense, then that's when everything will really take off. That's the real like crypto bubble.
Yeah.
You're gonna see everybody trying to make like a decentralized app. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
It's gonna be bonkers.
Well, yeah, that's it for us. Hopefully you guys kind of understood a little bit about Livepeer. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Blockrunner and also at MetaZone.io. Like and subscribe. And yeah, let us know what you think about Livepeer. And we will see you tomorrow, I guess.
Yep. All right. Peace out.